Okay, if you had to guess which sound this sonogram image comes from, which would you guess? Here, I'll even give you multiple choice, okay? Choice 1. Yeah, okay, that's a little too familiar, so it can't be that one. Wait, should I be commenting on which answers are correct while I'm giving the multiple choice? Who cares? Choice 2. That could be it, but I don't know why. I feel like that's being saved for a future video. Choice 3. Alright, come on. The Gigas video is for Halloween. I didn't even want to spoil it, but now I have to because of this multiple choice. It's ridiculous. Well, I guess all we got then is choice 4. Yep, I thought so. That's definitely the right sound. So I already know you want to know where this sound came from. Good question. Yeah, I know I'm the YouTuber and I'm supposed to be telling you where it's from, but it's not that simple this time. I can tell you the popular TikTok version is from an artist called Told and the title looks like some kind of encryption code, but I don't know where the original sample of the person saying, "Don't believe what you see," comes from. Everything is just speculation and rumors, but I tend to believe it's likely either the artist told themselves or some default soundbite, although I cannot imagine what the original intended purpose of this soundbite would have been for. I mean, who would have heard that and been like, "Oh yeah, this is exactly what I've been looking for!" But okay, now that we got the origins of the sound out of the way, for the rest of the video, well, let's be honest, most of you already saw the original video I made on TikTok's Darkest Sound, so you know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna delve into some posts under the sound that I found cool and interesting, and for the first section, we got this post. Okay, you caught me. This is just my post, okay? Just follow my TikTok link below, alright? I'm gonna be posting over there once a week, okay? So just go over there. Road to 10K. So I can get monetized. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to get monetized on TikTok too. The actual first section though is about these when you see it type of posts. Some of you, if you're old enough, might remember a time when these when you see it images were everywhere. Some of them were comedic and some of them were creepy, but all of them gave me the same feeling as a kid. A feeling of terror. More so specifically, as Vsauce said in his video, "Why are things creepy? The terror of ambiguity." I didn't know what I was looking for, and the more I looked, the more terrified I got because my mind would begin to wander. I'd start developing expectations of what I thought I'd find, how scared I might get, and how terrible it would be to see. Sometimes the tension and anxiety would grow to be too much, and I'd just give up looking, choosing the comfort of uncertainty over risking the chance that I found whatever terrible thing that I was thinking of. Other times, I'd stick it through and end up finding some stupid image that didn't faze me at all, but on occasion, I'd unfortunately end up finding exactly what I didn't want to find, making me that much more cautious and terrified the next time that I encountered one of these images. One I found under this sound that actually got me years ago was this image. Now, some of you may have already seen what you're supposed to look for, and honestly, I bet some of you aren't looking at all because of the way I introduced this section, my bad, but if you haven't found it yet, I'll give you a second. Alright, this isn't Dora, I'm not gonna give you all day. What you're supposed to be looking for is here, under this woman. It seems to be a face peeking out from within the couch. Now, besides almost making me pass out when I was a child, I did also feel another emotion, which was curiosity. I mean, where did this image come from, and is it just simple Photoshop or some elaborate optical illusion? I mean, it doesn't look like someone's laying under them or anything. Well, I decided to reverse search the image, and I got a dead end. Okay, I'm sure, you know, someone's talking about it on Reddit, right? That many years ago? Look, unfortunately, I'm not Jeff yet, so instead of making a well-researched and edited deep dive, I'm just gonna ask, straight up, does anyone know anything about where this image came from? Can they point me in any directions at all? I'd be down, in the distant future, with a lot more research, to make a video about where this image came from, but I need some leads, I need some sources here. With that, I'm gonna show you a couple more images I thought were cool before we move on. So we got this image that seemingly takes place in Japan, at least I'm guessing based on the sign. It honestly already looks creepy because everyone's eyes are censored out, but have you noticed something in the background? Yep, that's right, a ghost girl. Right there. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but the lighting and the quality of the girl does not line up with the rest of the image. I also found this image from Thailand, but looking at it again while I'm writing the script, it's not even a when you see it type image because the monster or whatever it's supposed to be is clearly right there. I don't think anybody's missing that. This Herobrine one and a Slenderman image. Alright, I'm done. Let's go on to the next type of post under the sound. Creepypasta images. Yeah, no, I just ended off on creepypasta images, and here we are. But hear me out. I only have 2 slideshows I found, but one is from Red Mist, and the other is from the SpongeBob bootleg tape creepypasta. Now, I'll obviously be saving the full Red Mist analysis and deep dive for my Was It Scary series on this channel, where I cover creepy media from the 2000s and 2010s and see if it holds up today. Shameless plug. But I will say that Red Mist was my first lost episode creepypasta. At least, I'm 99% sure of that fact because SpongeBob was by far my favorite cartoon, and I remember specifically being drawn towards stories that related to my favorite media. This is off topic, but I definitely also remember another obscure SpongeBob creepypasta called SpongeBob Hope is Lost. I mean, I know that has nothing to do with this section of the video, but I had to mention it because it's stuck in my head from that Hodo Hoodlum's Revenge video from like a decade ago. Now for the SpongeBob bootleg story, I will actually dive a bit more into it, so this section isn't just me plugging my other video series. The story is pretty simple. Basically, people found a tape in a dumpster. Tape has nothing but nonsense on it, but someone managed to catch a split-second frame where SpongeBob looks like this. Which, at first, I was gonna ask who analyzed this tape frame by frame, but I think there's actually a reason that was offered by the story, so I'm gonna leave it. Apparently, 5 kids found the tape, and of the 5, basically only 1 is even relatively normal, and the other 4 are either dead or insane. How they could become that way from a tape that basically has nothing comprehensible except for a 1-frame image of SpongeBob? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, these people would not have been able to handle a YouTube poop, I'll tell you that. Those are chaotic. Probably worse than this tape was. Also, apparently it says they gave paranormal investigators the tape, but in like the next second they say the whereabouts of the tape are unknown? So, did the investigators go missing or what? I'm a little confused there. I guess they at least analyzed the footage and shared this screenshot before they lost the tape though, or whatever happened to them. And look, I know it's a good horror tactic to keep things simple and let the mind wander, and usually for creepypasta I like to take them at face value because they're fun to read, but come on, this whole story is more than a little confusing. It kind of feels like they tried to leave too many things mysterious to the point where you're more confused than creeped out, you know? So, unfortunately, if this was my other series, I'd have to say that no, this does not hold up today. However, I still do like the fact that if you stare long enough, you'll see SpongeBob blink. Distressing memes. They are the backbone of this channel, in a way. That's not even really a joke, either. Several of my most popular videos are just me talking about these things. And yes, I am planning to do another one this year. I just want it to be actually good because the last one was, well, not my best work, to put it lightly. The first one I got from Alex Turbulence, great name, goes like this. You leave your friend by himself to get supplies. You come back hours later to see your friend talking to an exact clone of you. All you can do is stay hidden or else you will die too. Now, besides the fact that this may be one of the first 3-sentence horror stories, I actually like this, and not just because it's related to SpongeBob. All of the distressing memes I found in this sound, except for some from one slideshow, use SpongeBob, by the way, so that should show you how popular it is in this category. This premise is simple yet really effective because you know something will happen if the doppelganger knows you're there, but you don't know what. Will they eliminate you? Will they take you off somewhere and hold you captive with the original versions of who knows how many other victims? Or could it be something even worse that we can't even comprehend? I mean, if an exact copy of ourselves is existing right in front of us talking to someone, we know that the sky's the limit in terms of what could happen. And that's not even mentioning the reason behind why they have to get supplies in the first place. Did this shapeshifter or possibly multiple cause some apocalyptic event that's caused everyone remaining to go into hiding and ration supplies? Okay, this one by Cool Sigma Popular Loner, amazing name, is a lot more nonsensical, but here we go. You're waiting for your friends after they went down the tube slide, but the water starts turning red and you see a torso going down the slide. The slide wasn't a slide, it was actually a meat grinder. Well, I have some questions. One, were they the first people to use the slide or what? Because how's the slide not stained red and how's the water not stained red and how is there not a smell of blood or anything? Like, are they letting one person go down, shutting the slide down, cleaning and replacing everything, and then letting someone else use it? 2, what is the purpose of them doing this? Like, I feel like this is a lot of trouble to go to because they had to build a meat grinder that looks inconspicuously like a regular tube slide that easily grinds an entire person in seconds. The final question I have is, why am I actually analyzing this for a YouTube video? Yeah, I probably should have asked that one first, but whatever. Also, I'm sorry to mention this, but I have to say, this reminds me of that one scene from the book Playground, and if you aren't an adult, or if you're queasy, please don't look that book up. It's grotesque. Also, just since I did criticize this post a lot, I am gonna say don't send any hate to this person. I thought it was funny. That's why I want to talk about it. Let's move on. Okay, only 2 more, or this is basically gonna turn into another distressing images video, and we got other stuff to talk about. Have you seen this man? Photo taken March 10th. Last seen March 21st, 2007, wearing a hospital gown. Accounts describe misshapen face, walks with limp. Any information must be reported to the Billings Police Department. Should be considered dangerous. Okay, hey, what's up? I'm editing right now. Very big surprise since I let this sit for over a month. But anyway, I found the original from this. It's actually from an analog horror series or some digital horror, I think. I'm going to put it on the screen. I actually think it looks very interesting. Also, shout out to this Reddit commenter. None of it's in front of my eyes, so I don't remember. I'm putting them all on the screen, though. Shout out to that person. I'm probably going to talk about this. Could be in, not the next video. That's probably going to be some creepypasta video. But the video after that, because I find it very interesting. But anyway, just wanted to show the source, so there you go. Really, I think the amount of TikTok watermarks on this image may be scarier than the image itself. But what I will say is that this image creeped me out solely because I was thinking about driving around, stopping somewhere, and seeing this wanted poster on a pole. I can imagine my mind wondering if this is a joke. Surely it had to be, right? I mean, there's no way someone like this actually exists. This is just someone trying to scare people. I drive off, not thinking anything of it for a while, until one day I'd be out and I think I noticed someone hobbling along. I'd only be able to see them in the distance, but I could swear they had the same stance as that man on the wanted poster. No, that can't be. My mind must be playing tricks on me. That's the only logical thing, right? But they're a little bit closer now, and they definitely seem like they're that man. I'd briefly freeze up before driving away. Let's be honest, I'm not dealing with that. Also, can I just say this image really reminds me of that guy from the Fenced in Missouri tapes. Like, they gotta be related. Me after ripping my victim's face off only to find another face under it. Yeah, this wasn't even creepy to me, I just thought it was funny. Like, you know in SpongeBob when they're ripping the masks off of people in that one episode? That's what this makes me think of. I really don't have anywhere else to put these, but another type of post I found more than once are these bird conspiracy posts. Maybe conspiracy isn't the right word, but I don't know what else to call it. Is this like part of a larger art project or what? Because I can't find the origins with a Google search. I mean, maybe I just used the wrong keywords because I was just typing up toucan without beak or picking beak or something. I didn't really know what to say, but I just had to bring this up because it was so strange. All right, now for the actual section. Scary signs. That's really it. It's just a slideshow of scary signs. Now, basically nobody except for maybe one person watching will actually know why I chose this. I picked this because years ago, I made a YouTube short where I reviewed creepy signs. So, to pay homage to that, I will now read and rate these signs. Children and pets die in hot cars. Well, this is just true and sad, but since it's straight to the point, I will give it an 8 out of 10. Danger. If you fall in the pond, you will be boiled. Not only straight to the point, but also truly horrific to imagine someone going through. 9.5 out of 10. Glass and stream. Management not responsible for injury or damage. Unfortunately, I gotta give this one a 7 out of 10 because it's just not that creepy, and let's be real, we all assume glass and waste are in most bodies of water these days. Water is safe to drink. Please disregard the red filter status light. 9 out of 10 simply because I will be questioning if I'm being lied to and poisoned. Also added psychological horror if you trust the sign and drink it only to question yourself later. Very nice stuff. Danger. Blast door ahead is unsafe. So, does that mean the blast door doesn't protect you from explosions, you know, the only purpose it's supposed to serve, or are they just saying that you shouldn't walk in there because you'll get blown up? Well, it's useful despite the slight confusion, so I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Warning, artillery firing over roads day and night. On one hand, I wanted to give it a low score because the sign is on the road where I'm already in danger and I can't just turn around, but due to how scared I would be knowing I might just get hit by artillery out of nowhere until I got off of that road, I will give it a 10 out of 10. Danger. Man killer. Door may swing at any time, especially when underway. Exercise extreme caution when you approach this door to prevent injury or death. Yeah, I'm not even gonna ask any questions. I think I'll just turn around and run away. They really did not have to call it man killer. 9.5 out of 10. Do not use. Numbers are incorrect. Or do, if you like surprises. Frankly, I wouldn't mind being surprised with snacks, but I do appreciate the warning, so 7 out of 10. Hitchhikers may be escaping inmates. Frankly, I think I would have thought about that possibility without the sign, so 6.5 out of 10 for me. You don't know who is lurking here. Enter at your own risk. Finding a way to make the woods even more unnerving before I walk in there is impressive. 9 out of 10. Now for my rating of this section. Probably somewhat boring, but the editing made it bearable. 5.5 out of 10. There are so many creepy fact posts on TikTok that I don't think anyone is surprised that I found some under this unnerving sound. First off, I have a space isn't scary post. Now, some of you that actually use TikTok are probably pretty familiar with this format because people have reposted the same slideshow with the same facts under so many TikTok sounds and they always explode with views. So, obviously, I'm going to talk about them now because I will probably not get very many more chances to talk about space on this channel. Let's be honest with ourselves. Now, I'm not gonna lie, some of these are just straight regular facts. They're not creepy at all, at least not to me, but there are a couple that were genuinely intriguing and even unnerving to me. First and foremost, this question mark image. I always just thought this wasn't real because it's TikTok, but apparently it is. Well, I think so anyway. So based on my research, according to Smithsonian Magazine, the James Webb Space Telescope captured this strange question mark galaxy in 2023 that was located beside a pair of stars getting formed. Obviously, the question is, how does this galaxy happen to look like a punctuation mark? And the answer to that seems to be that the galaxies may be merging together, you know, like a fusion dance of sorts. Although, to be fair, it's also possible they just happen to be beside each other and actually have nothing to do with each other at all, so who knows. It should also be noted that in 2024, NASA apparently captured a similar phenomenon with the same telescope, although as you can see, this one isn't nearly as pronounced as the other one is. Another type of creepy fact in these slideshows that I find interesting are the ones that compare how big the Earth is to other planets or the sun or whatever, like this image comparing Olympus Mons on Mars to Mount Everest, or comparing our entire solar system to a single black hole. It doesn't really terrify me at all, but it does amaze me as to how much bigger things can be in our observable universe. The Earth seems massive to us, but it would be almost microscopic compared to these stars, for example. I'm sure for people with megalophobia, this is probably terrifying though, so I guess that's more fitting for the video, huh? The final fact I'll show is one about rogue planets because it's unnerving to me in a sense. There are estimated to be up to a quadrillion of these, which is a 1 followed by 15 zeros. Yes, 15. The reason it unnerves me is because at least some of these planets were likely once orbiting a star and possibly even had plants and animals, you know, and life, and now have been reduced to a floating, lifeless husk, cold and aimless, just blindly sailing throughout the massive dark void of space with nothing around it. I mean, if you think being alone at Point Nemo, the furthest point away from all land, is terrifying, imagine experiencing that for countless years. Yeah, I'm not done with the creepy facts, but I am done with the space ones. Kind of. We'll get back to that later. Fact 1. This is not a dog. Yes, I know it looks like a dog, but that's actually a person in a suit. Now, for those of you who didn't see Tuv's video on this a couple years ago, this is Toko the dog. On their YouTube channel called I Want to Be an Animal, we can see this Japanese man wearing a frankly extremely well-made dog costume and interacting with people, going on walks, and even recently playing with other people dressed in these costumes. The costume was made by a company called Zeppet, who, as you can see, makes quality costumes but also makes figurines and things like that. A lot of misinformation was spread on TikTok about this person getting surgery to look like a dog, but that's all untrue, of course. Another image shown in the slideshow is what the individual likely looks like inside the costume, and this is also from Tuv's video and was actually drawn for the video by his then girlfriend. It does kind of look like that man in the suit video though, and realistically I feel like it would be pretty terrifying for a lot of people to be inside the costume because of how cramped it is. To be honest though, most of the info I got for this subject is from Tuv's video where he goes much more in depth, so I just want to say I would recommend watching that video after this if you're interested in this topic. Some people obviously find it pretty creepy or downright terrifying since it's so realistic looking and therefore extremely uncanny when you realize a human is inside, but others simply see it as someone harmlessly living out their dreams no matter how strange, which is more or less how I see it. It is off-putting at first, for sure, but overall, I'm kind of just impressed that someone went this far to live this out. Like, I gotta respect it. Fact 2. I'm pretty sure I don't have to explain to you what Chernobyl is. All you really need to know is that in April 1986, a nuclear reactor exploded in Pripyat, Ukraine, ending a lot of people and making the entire area virtually uninhabitable to this day. Another thing this incident caused was this. It's commonly known as an elephant's foot, which is pretty bad PR for the elephant population, unfortunately. As you can imagine, based on the location and appearance, it is super dangerous. I mean, I don't know what all this means on Wikipedia exactly, but from my understanding, a 50-50 lethal dose means that it would be lethal to half the population that it would be exposed to. I don't know if that's right. I'm sure if anyone in my audience is a poison expert, they'll let me know if I'm wrong though. Anyway, either way, it means that it's super deadly, and trust me, radiation poisoning is by far one of the worst ways to pass away. It is slow, it is excruciating, and it is frankly horrific. I think that possibility by itself should allow the elephant's foot to be included in this video. Fact 3. Yang Liwei is, according to Wikipedia, a Chinese major general, former military pilot, and former taikonaut, aka astronaut, of the People's Liberation Army. The last thing is the most important for this video though. In 2003, Liwei was sent on a mission into space that is best known for being what made China the third country in the world to have an independent flight in space containing a human. However, there is a creepier fact about his experience. Alone in space, drifting above Earth, Li Wei would hear something that nobody wants to hear in that situation. Knocking. It's scary enough to hear a bump in the night when you're home alone. You know, the mounting pressure and the terror caused by your mind immediately wondering if someone broke in, or if it's an animal, or if it's just some weird sound from the house. It's not a pleasant experience at all. But in space, a place that we don't understand that could contain who knows what, I definitely wouldn't know what to think, because a space rock would not knock multiple times in a consistent rhythm. I think that at the very least, anyone would be greatly unnerved in this situation. When looking out of the windows, Li Wei didn't see anything, of course. I can't imagine what it felt like floating there, how much his mind wandered and how terrified he may have been. Sounds in space are technically not unheard of. For example, Earth gives off vibrations that sound like this through sonification, Mars sounds like this, and this is what Uranus rings sound like. But you cannot hear those with the naked ear, and none of those sound like knocking anyway. People still have no clue what the cause of this is, but also apparently it's been heard by Chinese astronauts in 2005 and 2008, so maybe it just has something to do with their spacecraft, I don't know. But due to how terrifying experiencing that would be, I had to add it. Fact 4. This at first appears like a normal statue, but actually it contains the skeleton of a Buddhist master named Liu Quan. Despite passing away around the year 1100, he was found inside of the statue in 2014, over 900 years later. Now, you're probably wondering how he ended up in there, right? Well, it's through an arduous process of self-mummification. Essentially, over a long period of time, certain monks would eat a super specific diet meant to perfectly preserve their body to be mummified. After years of eating this diet and slowly decreasing the amount they eat, they would be put in a tomb underground while still alive. And every day they would breathe through a bamboo tube while sitting in a lotus position and meditating. A bell would also be rang by the monk every day to signal that they were still alive, and when the bell finally wasn't rung, they would remove the tube and seal the underground tomb. 3 years later, they'd open it up, and in the rare case that the mummification actually worked, it would be taken and treated with great respect due to the painstaking and intensely dedicated process one would have to go through to end up like that. It's not common to find the bodies of these monks, and pretty much unheard of to find one inside of a statue though. It definitely makes you wonder what other ancient secrets are hiding in plain sight. Finally, I've saved the best, or really the worst, for last, so prepare yourself. Georg, or George in English, Carl Tanzler was a radiology technician in Key West, Florida. This guy's life was actually really interesting, but there's one thing in particular that stands out from his childhood. When he was a boy, he used to get visions in his dreams of an ancestor called Count Anna Constantia von Brockdorf, who, among other things, showed him an image of his true love and, as Wikipedia puts it, exotic dark-haired woman. This leads us back to Key West, where Tanzler was working as a radiologist. One day, he would meet a woman named Maria Elena Milagros de Hoyos, who, as you can see, happens to fit the exact qualifications met by his dream vision all those years ago. Unfortunately for him, he would meet her in the hospital he worked in as she was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and since this was 1930, I think you know that this won't end up well. He tried his best to cure her and also gave her tons of gifts, and from certain accounts, he even told her his feelings for her, but despite all his recovery efforts, she passed away the next year. Tanzler would pay for the funeral and would also visit her in her mausoleum that he also paid for every night. Apparently, he would just sit there and talk to her spirit, and she eventually told him to do something, to take her out of her grave. So he listened. In the dead of night in 1933, 2 years after her burial, Tanzler would sneak in, take her body, and cart it off in a toy wagon. But what would he possibly do with a corpse in such a condition? I mean, it must have decayed for years at this point, right? Well, he replaced the skin, the hair, and even filled her abdomen and chest with rags, as well as fully dressing her up, including accessories. He also used various chemicals and perfumes to slow down decomposition and compress the odor. Now, you may ask what he did with it after that. Well, some things I can't say because they're both insane and still unproven, but what I can say is that he lived with her body for 7 years. This was found out when her own sister confronted him over rumors pertaining to him living with her body. Unfortunately for her, the rumors were true, which obviously led to Tanzler being arrested. Here's what's insane though. They evaluated him and considered him mentally competent to stand trial. I genuinely just don't know what to say there. I mean, it was 1940. I understand that views were different in this time, but during this time, people also were thrown in mental hospitals for like anything. So this guy getting cleared when he did that actually blows my mind, truly. What's even crazier is that apparently the statute of limitations just ran out, so they threw all the charges out. If he got caught in 1940 living with the corpse, which I would think is also a crime, and charged the same year, how does that work? I mean, I guess the statute ran out from when he initially dug her up 7 years earlier, but that is insane to me. Also, many people at the time actually had a lot of sympathy for Tanzler and apparently viewed him as a romantic, which I guess that's one way to put that. Oh, and he ended up building a life-size depiction of Elena and lived with it for a few years until he died. So, that's really something. I'm not sure what to say, honestly. I mean, I think the more insane thing is that we got here because of a TikTok sound.